Senator Shaheen.
Mr. Billingsley, when you were talking about both the Russian and Chinese weapons, new weapons that they've developed, you said that we should make it clear that these weapons are not acceptable. How do you propose that we make it clear that they're not acceptable, and what is this administration doing to make that point? Do you know?
On the second half of that question, I'm not privy to those discussions. I hope that...
Are you aware that anything is happening to make it clear that the weapons are not acceptable?
I believe there have been conversations. I'm excited that Dr. Yaw hopefully will be confirmed for the Arms Control Assistant Secretary before the Christmas break, because he needs to get on that mission right away, and he's a phenomenal nominee. I will say that our plan in the first administration was to incrementally extend the New START treaty and to extract concessions from the Russians at each stage. Had we been able to continue the process, even under the Biden administration, but they chose not to, a requirement for cessation of RDT&E on these destabilizing strangelove weapons would seem to be the kind of thing we would insist on.
So you've both mentioned the importance of a nuclear posture review. I'm not aware that one is ongoing. Are either of you aware of whether that is in the works right now under this administration?
Ma'am, I am far away in California, and I'm afraid I just have not seen any indication that one is ongoing. But Mr. Billingsley might know better.
I live just down the street, and I haven't seen any indications either.
And so what are the implications for that? You talked about the importance of assessing our needs and determining what our priorities are. If we're not almost a year into this administration, and they haven't even started that kind of a review, what are the implications for having a real strategy with respect to how we address nuclear weapons and future buildup, and whether we're going to pursue any sort of arms control, and what our priorities are?
Senator Shaheen, perhaps I'll start. Mr. Billingsley went through a long list of ideas for responding to this threat, which the Strategic Posture Commission laid out in detail. If there was any criticism of the report, it was that we laid out so many priorities, and the United States of America must choose among them because of other demands. And by the way, I would like to say that one of the most important races that's going on. It's not the nuclear arms race 2.0, it's the AI race. And there are so many other areas of our national security that we have to also be investing in. And so it's going to be really important to spend smart. And for that reason, I think we can look at that long list of priorities. We can lay them out against the requirements, the threats we see and the requirements that our government lays down, and figure out what is going to be smart spending to respond to these nuclear threats now emanating from both Beijing and Moscow, the two-peer problem. But it's really going to be important for us to set our priorities carefully on the basis of requirements that will be agreed, because frankly, we have important other areas where we need to spend our defense resources, including on the conventional side. And so we really need to figure this out in a careful way.
Yeah, I'm on the Armed Services Committee, and I couldn't agree more with that. That's why I'm asking the question, because it's very concerning that we don't have this kind of review underway. And I would ask both of you, do you think we are facing a nuclear threat from Latin America?
No, not currently, but I believe that the threat posed by Iranian systems in Venezuela is highly unappreciated.
Scott Miller.
I don't think we face a threat from the Latin American countries per se. What I am concerned about, and Mr. Billingsley already talked about the Forbes test of China, is that we could face a nuclear attack coming at us from the southern hemisphere, and that would be from systems deployed by Russia and China. So there are a lot of reasons to be concerned about this matter and to try to get these systems under control. The Forbes ban, I entirely agree with that idea, as well as a recommitment to a ban on nuclear weapons in space. That is part of the Outer Space Treaty, but we are all concerned that the Russians are proceeding in that direction. And so I think it's going to be very important to also think about some threats we haven't been concerned about probably since the 1970s or 80s. We have to think about now how to place a barrier in their way.
Well, I agree completely with both of you, and unfortunately, I don't think we have any sort of strategy or planning underway that would address the concerns that you raise. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.